Over 3,000 IDF military reservists from the U.S. have been called back to Israel since the October 7 incursion by Hamas, with 2,000 of them from New York alone. News.com has learned that the aggressive anti-Zionist and anti-Semitic rhetoric these reservists have faced in the U.S. in recent weeks has played a major role in them packing their bags and leaving for Israel to fight Hamas. Among those leaving for Israel is 25-year-old Ariel Nurieli, a former IDF officer and a student at Columbia University, who joined the fight against Hamas 3 days after the militant group infiltrated Israel and slaughtered 1,400 civilians. A native of Miami, Nurieli stopped at his apartment before leaving for the battle to pack pictures of himself with his loved ones. In a statement to the New York Post, he said, "People say, wow, you left everything behind. But if we don't do this there won't be anything to come back to," adding that his father called him before he left to say he was proud of him. "We have to make sure there's a place that will always welcome the Jewish people, no matter what," he told the Post from his station at the front lines of the country's northern region. Yet another Columbia University student and IDF reservist, 24-year-old Leahy, told the Post that she was driven to the front lines of Israel's fight with Hamas due to the extremely anti-Israel and anti-Semitic hate sentiments being brewed in New York City. Stationed at Israel's northern border as the operations head for an elite commando unit, Leahy said that she feels more secure on the front lines, after having been chased and attacked in New York City for putting up posters of civilians kidnapped by Hamas and for talking to her mother in her native Hebrew. Originally from Tel Aviv, Leahy said that the hostile environment she faced on her own campus and in New York was her trigger to come home, adding that many of her friends from the university are scared to even step out of their apartments and are suffering panic attacks, according to the New York Post. Additionally, there are many among the IDF reservists who chose to join the front lines of Israel's ongoing war with Hamas although they had the option to stay at home. One such individual is 25-year-old Ayel Yacobi, who is rushing to Tel Aviv to join the 55th Paratroopers Brigade, even after his platoon officer said his unit was full. "This was something that if I didn't do now, I was gonna think about for the rest of my life. This is a really big turning point. If we're able to pull this off, we can either make greater peace in the region or greater war in the region, and I'm excited about the prospect of greater peace," said Yacobi, who is a lab worker at Columbia and looks after disabled men at a living assistance home. Then there are others, like IDF paratrooper reservist Chanik Eli Berman from New York City, who brought more than their presence at the front lines. When he showed up in northern Israel to prepare for the ground invasion, Berman brought with him 15 suitcases chock full of flashlights, tactical gear, and other combat gear he had purchased with money his friends from New York had raised. The ground invasion in Gaza is already underway, with IDF spokesperson Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari having announced that the Israeli forces are expanding their operations in Gaza. "In the last few hours, we have severely increased our attacks in Gaza," the Jerusalem Post quoted him saying. He added that the attacks were taking place from the air, sea, and land. Infantry, armored, engineering and artillery forces participating in the activity, accompanied by heavy air fire. "The forces are still on the ground and continue the fighting," he further mentioned, according to Times of Israel. However, he also said that there have been no reports of injuries so far.